Greetings, I am Luz.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Yay!
Let's hear Yuri be judgy instead of Splat for a minute. It'll be a refreshing take.
Yay! It's refreshing and it's completely fine.
And it's okay, everyone's an asshole in this game except Sayori, who is a cinnamon roll.
Sayori is really a cinnamon roll.
Sayori seems... It's okay,
careful about whacking into things.
I'm sorry, the room is very small.
It's
extremely
small.
All right. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback and that you will take it to heart and apply it and use it, and your next work will be so much more developed, which would be appropriate.
Hey, honey, like what? Nobody's given me anything, not even freaking Monica. You are kidding. There's that Suki left and we are screwed.
Oh.
Also, you were incredibly vague and didn't really directly say anything. Like, I love actually the level of her going, give you feedback. And I'm like, actually, I was waiting for feedback. And I'm like, there was nothing there.
Your stylistic problem is there. It's your stylistic problem.
And going like,
you just need to know that these two elements that you may not understand very well, content versus, like structure, need to be handled together and differently.
Okay.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
Examples of what that might look like, and could you break down this poem specifically and going, see where you used this word here? It just throws us off from whatever it is. Yeah, something real specific. I'm good at specific feedback because I value it.
Right.
Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though. Not like me. I am completely giving impartial reviews at all times. This is a poem. There are words in it, totally impartial.
Wait,
it's on
biased?
paper.
Wait, what? How? Huh? I don't even know what just happened. I feel like you're full of it.
Back to stuttering.
Yep.
Never mind. I'm now talking about someone else instead of something I'm really comfortable in. So, I shouldn't be talking about other people like that. I need to stay soft and deferential and feminine, or I will never be an effective waifu. Sorry.
It's fine? Oh my god, that was just... Never mind.
Except
You're
for
all
how
useless.
I say, except for how much you talk, you might make a really good girlfriend.
Yeah,
you
right.
are very soft.
Yeah, well, this is probably why boys would like you, but I'm not sure. So, I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Oh my god, do you mind if I read your poem now, please? Can we move on beyond this?
Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it after you read it, once you know who I am and how I express myself.
Yuri smiles dreamily, as if that's a rare opportunity for her, except for the fact that I'm like, oh my god, girl, how long have you been in this club, and how much of these people not been paying attention to you? Because it sounds like a lot.
You sound a little attention-starved here.
Whoa, what's going on? Which itself is kind of funny. You're so freaking desperate. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? I did call that, because that is weird.
It is.
It's supposed to be a literature club? Like, what the crap have you guys actually been doing?
Shouldn't everyone know what you are like and what your writing is like and stuff?
Right. Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air in the present, but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back.
Oh, she can flicker? Woo.
Oh my god! I know that movie. It had a horse in it.
Yes!
Yeah! It was very cute. Are you talking about horses?
Do you just neigh back at the light like you flicker back?
Yeah! Did you go in a race and you won the Kentucky Derby? Because all those stories, for some fucking reason or another, really mostly all have to do with the Kentucky Derby.
My horse is the best horse ever, and no matter what their breeding, their history, their athletics ability, their general health and everything, they will win for all things because of their hope. And let's just erase all ability levels except for maximum able-bodied, because hope puts you there.
Yay! I'm so excited.
And in case anyone didn't know, I do not believe that disabilities go away when you have more hope and enthusiasm. I do believe people can step beyond their regular boundaries, but I do not believe it suddenly makes them able to do things that they cannot actually do. And I don't think there should be any shame about that. And fiction bothers me when it does, basically limitation erasure by going, but if your heart is strong enough, you can.
I also feel like in some ways, too, there is some level of not understanding, like, for example, like chronic pain. Some people really go, I went beyond my limit, but I still freaking hurt. I was inspired.
Understand All Might. And that when he goes beyond his limit, it actually damages him and then permanently affects him for the rest of his experience.
Hey!
Or in the case of real people, if you have chronic pain and you really push yourself, you can tear something, overextend something. You can be recovering from it for a month afterwards.
And they're like, no, but you were just lying. You were just pretending that you couldn't do it. And they're like,
because look,
and now,
you did it that one time. That means you can always do it.
And you're like, and now, and then I went home and I cried because it hurt so bad.
And then I didn't have enough spoons for a month. But I'm really glad I was there when something needed me. But oh my God, you do not understand the cost.
Wow, jerks.
I'm sorry. I have such terrible handwriting.
What? Oh my God, that wasn't anyone I was paying attention to. I was going up about horses. Do you like horses? Are you a horse girl? Are you a horse snob? I need to know. Like, I have heard all about them, like from Barbie playhouses and sets and everything. Like, they are a huge thing. Like,
they're also a very American weeaboo thing.
Yes.
Cowgirls and stuff. I need to know.
Are you a cowgirl?
I'm
oh my God.
Cowgirl,
baby. Oh my God, I just wasn't thinking that at all. Oh my God, but
it took you a long time to read, but I won't acknowledge that it took me a long time to read yours. I've just...
Well, that's because you were terrible. You, however, should have been able to easily and quickly go through a poem, even though... Actually, okay, so one thing that I feel like people also never teach each other sometimes, they teach each other, like, implicitly, but basically going, you need to teach people how to read some poetry. So reading poetry is also its own kind of art, because guess what? Poems really, as far as I've ever seen, really look like a wide range of things, and you do not know what you're reading because everybody has a different style or mannerism or whatever else. And sometimes, like, so my dad actually talked about it. So he did Spanish poetry when he was in college, and he actually talked about it where the guy that they had, that they were studying, they actually went, okay, when they were all reading his poems, he's like, they were very emotive, people really got involved, and then they had some recordings of the actual author who had written these poems read it, and they were flat as crap. They were super boring. They had no pacing, no tone. He's like, it's like, you don't know what these are. That is up to artistic interpretation. You can look at basically, that's the fun thing about art and literature, is you really can look at them as anything.
This is why people do cover songs and reinterpret them, because they go, this same art, the lyrics and the bass structure of this song, can be reinterpreted many different ways. So taking a minor song and putting it in a major key, or a major song putting it in a minor key, is a real popular one, or simply changing the style. There's the one guy that I forget his name right now, but I like his stuff, of, in 10 different styles or whatever. It's like 60-second songs or something. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, where he'll do, song in 12 styles, in 16 styles, and whatever. He'll cover someone's song as if 12 different bands were covering it. And they're really good. He does really good musical impressions, and he's somewhat theatrical, so he's fun to watch as well on YouTube. But again, I'll link to who he is once I remember his name, because sometimes I am crap with names. But that's one of the things about literature, is it can be interpreted many different ways. And the important piece when you're dealing with the author is to recognize what their intention was. And I don't mean like figuratively dealing with the author, but I mean like the person who wrote it, it's right in front of you. And if they say my intention is this, you can't then go, no, it wasn't. You can go, oh, and also I can see these things here. So because they know their intention, they wrote it. And it doesn't matter if, one, you can't access that intention, or two, you see something completely different. Like, at all. And so, but one of the things about reading poetry is knowing different styles and structures of poetry. And if you don't know cadence of some predetermined, like an iambic pentameter and stuff like that, or different structures of poem, you won't actually know how to read them based on the format they're in. You'll just be like, it's a poem.
Or it's some words on a page. Oh boy! It took me a while to read. Oh, right. Well, I just don't read script very often.
It's cursive. I love it.
Oh my God. No, I just don't read it very often, because you know what I do? I watch things.
Right.
I don't deal with
remember
words.
that.
I actually think your handwriting is really pretty and just...
It's useless, and you can't read it well, but it's very pretty.
super pretty.
You should do one of those poems that I have heard about that is in, like, the shape of something, and then it will just, like, look like a piece of art, and then some people will know it as words because they will know it as handwriting, but otherwise it would just look like art for everyone else who cannot read.
Do you know what makes me angry?
What?
Being an adult and everybody going, cursive is going to be really important! Like, they were like, math is going to be really important!
You won't have a calculator with you everywhere you go. Handheld, your cell phones, literally a calculator everywhere you go.
And everybody's usually got one. Even if you didn't have one at the time, guess what? Somebody else did.
I
so
loved
you always had a calculator.
That old argument, and I think they still, like I've still heard teachers trying to use it, and, like, basically they have to really tear it down. Like, at work, I heard it one time going, you can't have a calculator everywhere you go, and they're like, I have my cell phone. They're like, yeah, but you're not allowed to have those on the production floor. So you need math because of the production floor safety. So there, and it's like, but the computers on the production floor do have calculators.
And then at the same time, when we got iPads, they were screwed.
Everyone used the calculators on the iPads. You have your team lead going and logging their production into Red Zone in the iPads. And if you don't know what Red Zone is, it's a production app.
Yeah.
Basically, and anyway, or program.
Productivity.
It's a productivity tracking app, and it's pretty cool and flexible. But anyway, you just have them all going over these iPads, and they would just calculate everything they needed to on the calculators on them, and it was really easy. And so it's like there's nothing. You don't need the snobbery of mental math.
No,
like,
you don't.
It's not required, and it doesn't need to be a moral value or any kind of snobbery in general. People have different types of intelligence, and that's a thing. All right.
I actually think your handwriting is, like, really pretty, but, you know...
That's a relief.
Also, I like the poem.
Yeah.
That's fine. I guess it was words on a page.
Oh, I liked
that
it.
I read.
It was shorter than everyone else's.
It was so good that it was really short.
Yeah, that was great.
Actually, I was just sort of reveling in how short it was because... oh my god. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive.
It wasn't too short.
Honey, like, I am not a literature person. Ask the literature people.
But I do like the fact that it was descriptive, because then I have more words to describe me. And
Yes.
then next to my word bold, which I have stamped on myself, and I am bold, and I have on my vision board bold, I can now put in some of your descriptive words, but about me.
Yeah, of course, because it's all about me, don't you know?
I usually write longer poems.
Hey, not at all. I wonder actually who they got to write these poems.
I do
like
too.
if like the people who did it going like, all right, what I need from you guys is this thing. Like, and they just like outsourced to their friends or like crowdsourced or something like
or
that.
they just all wrote it together. What sounds like this? Or if they really were like, okay, what's foreshadowing, but let's have a little bit of stylistic difference based on the characters.
Right.
So whatever they're going for that is the ultimate, jump scare horror creeping out of the ceiling and the walls. It's just dark water pouring through the panels. I don't know, I'm just waiting for it.
Right.
Which I don't think it'll be any of those things, but I'm still waiting for something to just smack up against the window or something like that, you know? Like so bad. Anyway, that they just are setting up for that in the poems to some degree, so that if you're paying attention or if you notice these things, you'll go, there was foreshadowing, and now I know what it was shadowing.
Oh my god! There are shadows on the wall.
I can see clearly now the light is gone. The shadow's gone. All right, I am really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. I didn't want to put you off or scare you if I wrote something genuinely dark or truly morbid or really digging into profound and elaborate body horror laced with psychological trauma and the desperation of emotional destitution.
Oh, so it's like that story, Metamorphosis by Kant.
I don't think
Yuri
I
going,
read
what?
that
You know
one.
that one?
My god, you know that book that is on my list of snobby things to eventually read that I've never read?
I watched a movie. It's called The Fly. It had Jeff Goldblum in it, and he turned into a bug, and it was gross. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right. Something easy to digest. Like a bug.
Like a fly.
I suppose.
Yay! Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Like, really into ghosts? Are you secretly the creepy girl?
What's hoo-hoo? Is that a laugh?
It's a laugh. I love your... What's who? That was so serious. Of my friend just look at the thing. I just watched his head turn and go, what's who?
I'm not.
Oh my god!
So it's a word.
It is. It's a series of words put together.
It's a sound.
It's
if there was a space, I might have thought it was laughing, but it's
oh my god. It's a Pokemon, actually. Except that's a hoot hoot.
So if you don't know, I'm the one that can't read, and sometimes dyslexia plays really interesting tricks on you. And I think that our catalog of Lex Plays in like 5 years is really going to be a tour of what it's like to have dyslexia and all the various things that can come with it, including when you stare at letters sometimes.
I'm just one day going to roll over in bed, and I'm just going to stare at you from over in the corner and go...
I'll just be out in the living room, and there'll be these eyeballs peeking out through this door. And I'll be like, oh God! All right, so actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Splat. But I actually am assuming that you think it's about a ghost, instead of that I just might like ghosts in general because you associate ghosts with horror or dark things. But sure, I'll assume it's directly related to the poem.
What? Really?
Honey, I didn't know what you're talking about.
Wait! It's a ghost horse?
It's a ghost horse.
It's a ghost horse.
With special butts.
Sexy
beautiful,
butts.
sexy butts.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, the one thing also that I have disliked about doing literature class sometimes has really broken down into, or doing literature in college, was a lot of going, you just don't understand the symbology here. You're not thinking enough. I'm like, I am an incredibly creative person. Thank you. But I have no idea how this thing could equal that thing. Well, you just really have to see it there. Of course it equals that thing. And I'm like, no,
God,
it fucking doesn't just equal that thing. What are you talking about?
So the two classes that I took that involved some level of literary analysis, one of them actually being literary analysis, like 101, and then the other one just having it as a component of it, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was one of my essay classes. Anyway, there really was this experience of going, now analyze this literature and tell me what you think. And then the teacher going, okay, so it's very interesting how you all came up with what you did, but you need to know that this is what it means. And so all of your analysis isn't actually perceiving what it truly actually means. So you need to learn to analyze so you can find the real answer. And so
I'm like,
the
it's
instructor,
creativity. It's made up. What the shit,
the
guys?
instructor really was of the opinion that the stories and essays and poems that she had picked for the class had one meaning that could be very clearly interpreted from context. And so if you knew how to interpret context and words correctly, you would always come to that meaning. It was a universal truth. And that basically it was her job to teach us how to get to that one correct meaning in all cases so that we would never make a mistake or misinterpret things again by just being creative. Because we weren't supposed to be creative and go, what could this mean? In the same way that we do on this channel all the time. What could this mean? But we were supposed to go, what is the author actually saying based on very specific cues and limited interpretations?
And also very specific cultural I'm like, the level that always irritates me about classes like that is they never bring into account basically a bias from the professors of their historical background, what they've dealt with, their life background, etc., their information, where they basically had their history with a culture that we've all been raised in, the subcultures that everybody may or may not be used to. I'm like, it always irritated me in regards to, even with my high school classes or in regards to my college classes, of just being like, you are assuming so hard that there really is only one interpretation of this and one only. And yeah, sure, we have talked about how the authorial intent is where they will explicitly go, this was about this thing. And sometimes it's been really funny though also where people are like, they meant this thing, and they've actually had interviews from authors who are like, I didn't fucking mean anything. I was just writing something I thought sounded cool.
Or they go, Tolkien was making an analogy, and he's like, I swore up and down 10,000 times I was not. I was just writing fantasy. And they're going, no, but he clearly was, and he's just
He was right about the war!
And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I say, but, yeah.
That doesn't mean
all
that
of that stuff. But I like literary interpretation to just be freeform creative, and we're going to continue to do that on this channel. So
yes, here we go. Really? Like, I must have totally missed the point, like I do with freaking everything, because none of you guys are clear.
Well, I suppose you did only glance over it, even
Except
though I said you read it
really
slowly
long, yeah,
and took a really long time to read it. I assumed, and I'm still assuming, that was not and is not because you were thinking deeply about it or examining it or taking time to process it. It was just because you were fighting with my handwriting, after all.
Right. Okay, that's weird.
But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work, rather than other people's thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work, which for the most part they can't actually know unless they are quoting someone directly, which would be that person's thoughts.
Except for the fact that also, again, remember, poets are often expressing their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences, which I don't know you. So how the frick am I supposed to know what you're expressing or what those things mean to you if I don't know who you are as a person?
And
again, I'm like, I feel like I am annoyed now.
Right. I would say, I feel like the blush here is supposed to mean you should know that I'm writing about me. So even though you don't know me, this is an opportunity to get to know me better. I have laid myself bare. I've been vulnerable with you. I'm letting you know that what's on that page is a key to part of who I am in that mysterious feminine way, and I'm using feminine and female roles as a mockery in reference to Yuri because it seems like it's a really good fit.
Yes.
Okay, just for the tropes and especially some of the harmful stereotypes and limitations that go in with many of that role.
Right.
But I'll just earmark that here. I'll say, but that she's got that it's this opportunity to get to know her in that vague, indirect girl way of going, I put it all down there, and if you understand it, then you will truly see me. And if you see me, how profound is that? But I can't really tell you what I was saying or what I was meaning or what I want from you. But if you can figure it out without me telling you, that is the real important connection.
That's the real love, which is a thing we've actually talked about before, of going,
Yeah.
some people really do put a heavy amount of value in going, you figured it out from abstract context clues that are completely out here and nowhere, instead of directly asking me, this is the real experience now.
And there
This is the real love.
a really strong, strange weight on that I've also been exposed to throughout my experience. In that there's this idea that if people figure things out without being told, it has far greater value than if they just interact with them through their cerebral capacity and the characteristics of their self once they've been told.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, okay, so someone figures it out without being told, and you've been taught that that's a profound, meaningful thing, and then they're an asshole to you for what they figured out, and they hold it over your head. Someone else gets told, and then they use their empathy and their, critical thinking and their care for you to interact with it in a thoughtful and gentle and, recognizing of, you kind of manner. And you go, but the other one was so much more important, so now I have to try and tame this asshole because they did the profound, important thing, and that has so much value that it's worth it to be hurt by them until I can get to the good thing that's clearly underneath.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very harmful ideal, that going non-communication and it just happens hurts so many people. And it's almost like that whole capitalism lottery thing that I talk about sometimes. There's a chance that it could go well, and it could be so amazing if it does, that it's not worth taking the, hey, if I actually communicate about this, there's a really good, clear path to it going well rather than a chance.
Right?
Anyway.
Well, thank you very much, guys, then, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And please also feel free to share our videos if you had a good time and you want to bring someone else in on it. That would be super great.
Yep.
Other than that, also, if you want to support us, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. I got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!